Good morning, everybody. All right. Time for us. Yeah, okay. Time for us to continue our study on Samadhi. As always, I will do the prayer on behalf of us. Now let's sit upright, place our palms together, and concentrate on the prayer below. We take refuge with our Metta Bani. We take refuge with Shakyamuni Buddha. We take refuge with all the triple jewel of the 10 directions and 3 periods of time. Verse for opening suture, it surpasses profound and wonderful Dhamma. In hundreds of millions of beings, it is difficult to encounter when no sin Harry receive and behold it, and without to fathom the Tathagata's true meaning, and without to practice the Tathagata's true way, and without to attain the Tathagata's true state. We vow that we can spontaneously express the Buddha's understanding, Buddha's view, Buddha's wisdom, Buddha's merit and virtue, Buddha's capability and Buddha's state through our actions, speech, and thoughts. We also vow that all living beings can enter into the Buddha's understanding, Buddha's view, Buddha's wisdom, Buddha's merit and virtue, Buddha's capability and Buddha's state owing to us. Hello, Alice. Good morning. Yeah, yesterday. So what's the issue? We need to continue. I remember there is an issue I need to discuss further. Hi, Alice. Can you get on mic and say something about it? Alice is not here. No worries. I think we can begin with our review through the video.
Structure creates duality, a split between self and other, mine and yours, man and nature, inner and outer. The ego is violence. It requires a barrier, a boundary from the other in order to be. Without the ego, there's no war against anything. There's no hubris. There's no overreaching nature to create profit. These external crises, there is violence or duality. The solution is not to fight self-interests. The solution is not to fight for peace or conquer nature, but to simply recognize the truth that the very existence of the ego structure creates duality, a split between self and other, mine and yours, man and nature, inner and outer. The solution is not to fight for peace or conquer nature, but to simply recognize the truth that the very existence of the ego structure creates duality, a split between self and other, mine and yours, man and nature, inner and outer. The solution is not to fight for peace or conquer nature, but to simply recognize the truth that the very existence of the ego structure creates duality, a split between self and other, mine and yours, man and nature, inner and outer.
Okay, and so Daisy, would you like to read them twice?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. The solution is not to fight for peace or conquer nature, but to simply recognize the truth that the very existence of the ego structure creates duality, a split between self and other, mine and you, yours, man and nature, inner and outer.
Okay, exactly.
I will read it again.
Mm-hmm.
The solution is not to fight for peace or conquer nature, but to simply recognize the truth that the very existence of the ego structure creates duality, a split between self and other, mine and yours, man and nature, inner and outer. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So is it possible for you to recite it in the very existence?
Can I read it again?
Sure.
Okay. The solution is not to fight for peace or conquer nature, but to simply recognize the truth that the very existence of the ego structure creates duality, a split between self and other, mine and yours, man and nature, inner and outer. Okay, so let me try. The solution is not to fight for peace or conquer nature, but to simply recognize the truth that the very existence of the ego structure creates duality, the split between you and other. The split between you and other. Mine and yours, man and nature, inner and outer.
Yes, I think so. Almost. Yeah. Self and other.
Oh, self and other. Mine and you.
Try again.
Okay. The solution is not to fight for peace or conquer nature, but to simply recognize the truth that the very existence of ego structure creates duality, a split between self and other, mine and yours, man and nature, inner and outer. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yes, thank you so much. So yeah, it's your time. Hello, Alice. Are you with us?
Yeah, Enid, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. So you read it twice and then try to recite it, okay? This sentence. Okay. And yeah, something left to discuss. So do you remember it? So what's this issue? We think, yeah, we said we will continue tomorrow, something like that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. We see that what kind of subordinate clause of this sentence led by that.
It's not a subordinate clause, just a.
Sorry, yeah.
It's just a opposition phrase, you know. You remember it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one, the color, I mean the words in red color is not a sentence but a phrase. And to explain that further. And here that, yeah, the function of that here is to emphasize. You know, emphasize?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So that's it. But yeah, if according to the Chinese logic thinking, no logic thinking, logic. To Chinese people, logic in English, maybe we just use directly the very existence of the ego structure creates duality, blah, blah, blah. Not that. But here there is a that. Followed by another phrase. I think that is here just to emphasize something like the very and the right.
Yes, yeah, I think I think maybe we should pay attention to the sign of this. Yeah. I don't know how to refer this 分号这个. Maybe this is a key for us to understand this sentence. Yeah.
Yes, yes, we can. 就是像那样的，就是它的这个句子，它的句子这里是分开的，可以理解吗？就是
也可以，
两个不同的句子，然后这个句子后面的这个红色的部分，它是一个词组，不是同位语的从句，是词组，这个可以理解吧？
对的，对的，这个我也
如果
可以理解。
是中国人的话，如果中国人的话，这个 that 完全可以省略的。中国人的思维就可以是这样写，就是比如说，他前面一句，后面一句，他就是说啊，什么什么什么，这个东西创造了什么东西，他就是这样的。但是他加了一个 that 之后，他是很浓重的强调的意味在里面，就强调这个事儿，就正是这个创造了二元性，就证明了这个是这个中间的这个东西，红色的这个部分是罪魁祸首。然后这个分号的话，您说后面这一段强调这个解释这个没有问题，我完全同意。这个 choose 可以是这样子，choose 是什么呢？就是认知这种真实的情况，真实发生的原因是什么呢？是人类有二元性，创立了一个对立面，这个没有问题。然后这个二元性对立面就是真实的没有意识到我跟外在的一切都是本为一体的，这个是根源。所以我昨天就是在群里说了，你的理解是没有问题的，完全没有问题。还有其他的，嗯，
您的意思，
所以
那这个就涉及了好几个问题了，所以你的，
那一个个来。第一个问题什么问题？
就是您刚刚解释了这么多，第一个您就说像我说这个 that 一直到后面其实是解释 truth 的具体的这个内容，它让我们仅仅是意识到这个真相。什么真相呢？它下面就解释了，就是这个自我建构的这种存在，创造了二元性，并且导致了自我和他人等等这些分裂，这个真相
是的，没错，没错，这个可以认为是你认为这个 that 就等于这个 choose 是吗？
不是，我们昨天是就是说开始是没有分，您是说没有分号的话，它是一个同位语从句，对吧？如果说是有了个分号的话，意思就是它的这个句子结构，你的意思就不能再当做同位语从句了，而可是说呢，可不可以理解为其实是下面这个 that， 那就是换一种理解了，不是同位语，换一种什么样的理解呢？换一种理解就分号。我记得好像曾经我似乎看了一下，解释了这个分号的这个作用，我们具体就可以具体的再我们来了解一下。那就分号意思是不是就是可以 that 引导的对一个另外一个句子，就是对 truth 的进一步说明，它只是呢这个不是叫做同位语从句了，只是另外一个句子对 truth 的内容更进一步的说明，可以这样子理解。然后您的是说呢，这如果是这样子理解的话呢，这个 that 就不能把它引导为带一个句子了，而 that 仅仅是一个词，而强调这个主语的，加强语气的，是这个意思吗？
首先在后面的这句话，现在这样来说啊，后面的这个蓝色这句话可以认为是对这个 choose 的，他没有去认清这个 choose， 这个 choose 的解释，这个是可以的。管他是用 that 引导的还是用任何一个东西引导的，这个是对上一个的解释是可以的。因为分号的作用就是它是义理上没有断开，但是句子是断开的，这个可以接受吗？
Yes.
好，这个问题解决了。还有什么问题？第二个问题是说这个 that 跟这个 very existent， 它两个就是它同位语就是相等，这个等于这个没有问题。
我明白了，我明白您的意思，我明白了。Yeah, thank you. 对，其实这是几个问题混在一起了，就是关键还是我的这个 confused。Yes， 如果就是没有分号的话，那它是一个典型的，就是一个同位语从句。那加了这一个分号，那它这里就不能就是不能理解为同位语从句了，因为这里情况是同位语从句的话，它这个句子不能和它前面的那个词分开的，它们连在一起的。所以加了一个分号呢，就不能当做同位语来理解，那应该当做另外一种理解。当做另外一种理解的话，那这个 that 这里它就不是一个 连接一个词了，连接就是说
对
连接一个句子词的功能，而这里它就转换为这个强调的一个功能一样，就相当于
是
就是你说强调前面的那个主语的那个功能一样的，是那个意思吗？
是的，是的，相当于什么right，什么 very，这个 right very 都是加在这个名词前面的，或者是就是加在后面一个的后面的 the right the very 就是这样子。这里可以认为是 merely only，就类似于这些词，你可以感受得到吧
Yes,
？Only merely the very existence of， 就是这个意思，它的功能也是这样子，就是强调的意味在里面。所以这个蓝色的部分强调这个 choose， 去解释这个 choose 是没有问题，因为分号的功能就是这样子，就义理上的连贯，但是这个语法结构句子上是可以分开的，因为前面一个句子主谓宾都是完整的，后面一个句子主谓宾也是完整的，所以这是分号的一个用法。第二个就是在这一个蓝色的这个句子当中，这个 that 引导的是什么？它其实它是真实的主语，但它的同位语就来解释这个 that， 就是这个后面的这个内容。
您的意思就是在这里的话，这个 that 它就相当于和 the very existence the ego structure 它们的位置是等同的，是吧？就它的也是就是说，就相当于它也是这个后面这个 the very existence of the ego structure 对 that 的就是说进一步说明一样的，就是就像个同位语一样的，是这样的意思吗？
是的，是我昨天问您，我说这个 that 跟这后面的是什么关系？你教我的。
我明白了，这像that 还有这种用法是吧 ？Sorry， 这个我不知道。
that 有没有这个用法？主语从句 that 就是这样来用的，你记得主语从句吗？
但主语从句它那个 that 意念的呢，它那个 that 只是起到一个连接词的作用，而不是说有任何含义。它是引导的是一个句子嘛，它仅仅是一个连接词。
你再去用另外一个角度考虑，就是这个功能，就是我现在不再扩充到别的地方，你可以再去考虑一下，就是用别的角度去考虑。你以前那个角度就是它是一个连词，其实 that 就是等于后面这个句子就是真实的主语这个解释。
明白了 ，Yeah，I can understand， 我明白了。
So great you are。好，那这一句还有没有其他的问题？关于问题的问题？
没有 ，Yeah， 没有问题。
就是这样子 ，that 它很神奇的，它拉出来的时候就是引导主语从句，这个主语从句就是跟这个不定式之间可以穿来穿去。之前我们好像有一起讨论过，是吧？
对的，讨论过的，并且讨论的还比较深。对的，那段时间。
OK。
你这样就是说到了最微细处，我觉得
太好了。其实是很有难度的。这句真实的，我承认有很大的难度。
对，
他的思维不是中国思维。
对，像我们以前那个思维，对，我们以前那个思维，我觉得是有问题的。就 that 仅仅是一个连词而已，但对它真正的那种内里面的深刻的那种微细的那种意理，居然没有说，仅仅是一个连词，你把它连着吧。但是像您这么一分析，确实是我就明白了。明白了 ，Yes, thank you。
就是，因为它这个主语从句当中，它如果还原成真实的话，它就是差一个东西，这个东西就其实是一个从句，但是它也就等于 that， 就是内容就等于它。OK, so great, you are。这个 logic 就是真的是思维模式不一样。This is not the Chinese logic to process this sentence。就是这个把这个句子给弄出来，它真的不是一个中文的思维。然后这个 that 真的是从这个分号后面隔断的。这个老师读得非常清楚，隔的也很多，中间还有点音乐。好，那我们再听一听，然后再请您来读，因为要听一下这个 video， 再感受一下。刚才这次老师已经背完了。
The solution is not to fight for peace or conquer nature, but to simply recognize the truth. that the very existence of the ego structure creates duality, a split between self and other, mine and yours, man and nature, inner and outer. The solution is not to fight for peace or conquer nature, but to simply recognize the truth that the very existence of the ego structure creates duality, a split between self and other, mine and yours, man and nature, inner and outer.
Yeah, would you like to read it, Alice?
Yes, yeah, indeed. The solution is not to fight for peace or conquer nature, but to simply recognize the truth. The truth that the very existence of the ego structure creates duality, duality, a split between self and other, minor yours, man, nature, inner, and outer.
Yes, once again, to read it again and then try to recite it.
Okay, yeah. The solution is not to fight for peace or conquer nature, but to simply recognize the truth that the very existence of the ego structure creates duality, a split between self and other, man and yours, man, nature, inner and outer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, a split between 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Four
Yeah.
phrases after a split. Yeah, there are 4 aspects of that kind of split. The first one is self and other, mine and yours, self and other, mine and yours, man and nature, and nature. Yeah, okay, inner and outer. So yeah, time for you to recite it, Alice, you please.
Okay. Yeah. The solution is not to fight for is not a fight for peace or conquer nature, or but to simply recognize the truth that the very existence of ego construct creates duality, a split between a man. Sorry, I don't.
Yeah, first one is 自己和他，自己和其他。Yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah. A split between self and other, mine and yours, man and nature, inner and outer. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, you're amazing. Thank you so much, Alice. Yeah, self and other. This is this is a group of atonism. Atonium， 这是一个反义词，一对反义词，这里基本上都是相对的。Okay, except a man and nature. All right, yeah, time for you, Elva. Would you like to read them times and then try to recite it?
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The solution is not to fight for peace or conquer nature, but to simply recognize the truth that the very existence of the ego constructor creates duality, a split between self and other, mine and yours, man and nature, inner and outer.
Yeah, once again.
I would like test read test
Yes.
test times. Oh, okay, thank you.
Second
The
time,
solution
2 times equals time. I will write it down. So do you know the difference?
yeah, I know.
Okay, you can touch it, right? Yes, just do it again. Second time.
Okay. Yeah. The solution is not to fight for peace or conquer nature, but to simply recognize the truth that the very existence of the ego construct creates duality, split between self and other, mind and yours, man and nature, inner and outer.
Yes, amazing you are. Thank you so much. And is it possible for you? Yeah, I recite it. Time to read it from memory. Can you?
I would like to recite it.
Okay,
now,
please.
The solution is not to fight for peace. The solution is not to fight for peace or conquer nature, but to simply recognize the truth that the very existence of the ego constructor creates a duality, creates duality, a split between self and others, mine and yours, man and nature, inner and outer.
Perfect. Yes, thank you so much. I will read it and then try to recite it. The solution is not to fight for peace or conquer nature, but simply recognize the truth that the very existence of the ego structure creates duality, a split between self and other, man and mine and yours, man and nature, inner and outer, inner and outer, and outer. Okay, I will recite it. The solution is not to fight for peace or conquer nature, but to simply recognize the truth that the very existence of the ego structure creates duality, a split between creates a split between self and other, mine and yours, man and nature, inner and outer. So that's it. Now let's go ahead with the last sentence.
The solution is not to fight for peace or conquer nature, but to simply recognize the truth that the very existence of the ego structure creates duality, a split between self and other, mine and yours, man and nature, inner and outer. The ego is violence. It requires a barrier, a boundary from the other in order to be. The ego is violence. It requires a barrier, a boundary from the other in order to be. The ego is violence. It requires a barrier, a boundary from the other in order to be.
It's very interesting, right? Ego is a violence. It requires a barrier, a boundary from the other, a boundary from the other in order to be, okay? And especially in order to be. Yeah, interesting. So let's check balance. Balance, yeah, new word, balance, barrier, boundary. So that's it. And that's that they are. So let's double check. Yeah, how to put the pronunciation into the sentence. Okay, pay attention to them.
The ego is violence. It requires a barrier, a boundary from the other in order to be.
Yes, so Daisy, would you like to analyze it? The structure?
Yes, okay.
Mm-hmm.
In this paragraph, there are two sentences. First one
Yeah.
is the ego. The ego is violence. The ego is the subject, is the predicate. Violence is the predictive.
Exactly.
And then it requires a barrier boundary from the other in order to be. It, in this sentence, it refers to the ego.
Yeah.
The ego is the subject, requires is the predicate. A barrier or boundary are the objects. From require something from somebody. I think here it has a phrase, how do you say, verb phrase, require something from somebody.
Phrase of verb.
Sorry.
Are you sure?
Yeah, require something from somebody. Yeah. Could you check
I'm
in the
checking.
dictionary? Okay.
Actually, it's from this the apposition phrase and can combine with other verb freely. I think.
Oh.
Yeah, there is not a fixed, not an idiom. So have you checked it? Require somebody to do something. Require doing something. Here, require doing something means need doing something. Same issue. On the second one is require something of somebody, and require somebody to do something. Require that. Yeah. Once again, require that. So from the other is a phrase. Yeah, preposition phrase can use freely. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so okay, here, from the other in order to be,
Yeah.
are both here. It has two preposition phrases from the other in order to be.
Yeah. How
And
do you think? How think in order to be? If you would like to, if you are required to fill it up, how to fill it up? Yeah, to complete it.
Okay, let me check. Requires a barrier, a boundary from the other in order to be. In order to be. Barrier, boundary from the other in order to be self.
Yeah, talented. I agree. Yeah, something like a self. Yeah. So how do you think of it, Alice? So if you are asked to fill it up, so which word followed by to be?
Yeah. Ego. Yeah. It ought to be ego. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Self or ego. Yeah.
So could you find some words here within this sentence?
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. Self, mind. Yeah. Inner or ego structure.
Within this sentence, yeah, just within one sentence.
To be a barrier?
No.
Exactly. Congrats. Okay. It requires a barrier, a boundary from the other in order to be a barrier or a boundary. So yeah, in that way, it has been omitted in that way.
Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah. I'm confused. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it's
requires a barrier or boundary from the other in order to be. Yeah, maybe we can see that. Maybe we can see ego structure is a barrier, a boundary.
Yes. Yeah, from the mini issue, both of you are right. But from the structure, from the grammatic issue, you can find some norm within this sentence. So do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
它这里就是一个省略，它省略的是前面的这一个部分，就是为了避免重复。他的意思是什么呢？他说这个自我本身就是一个暴力，什么样的一个暴力呢？那暴力就是有一种侵害性、侵犯性，然后或者是要划清界限、划清这些三包线之类的。他这个就是这个自我，他需要跟别人啊。这个 from 是其实 Daisy 这个 from 是 a barrier from the other， 这个 from 是跟这个后面的这个词。就跟 separate 的这种感觉一样的，跟后面的这个名词连出来的，你可以感受得到啊。A barrier from the other 也就是跟其他的跟 self 以外的东西划清界限，这个意思。然后 in order to be， 你可以认为是 in order to be a ego 也是可以 ，in order to be the ego 也可以的，因为 it 是指在这个，或者是。就是 in order to be a barrier, in order to be a boundary 是什么呢？就是为了去形成这个界限，为了去形成这个障碍，这都可以的。这个是在这个地藏经英文地藏经当中经常会遇到。我下课后去找一找。I will find some example on this. Okay, and this is also not the logic in Chinese. Okay, in that way. Thank you so much for your understanding, and time for us to recite it. Okay, to practice it.
The ego is violence. It requires a barrier, a boundary from the other in order to be. The ego is violence. It requires a barrier, a boundary from the other in order to be.
Okay, Daisy, you follow it, please.
Okay. The ego is violence. It requires a barrier, a boundary from the other in order to be.
In order to be somehow come into being. Come into being. In order to come into being. Yeah, in order to come into being. In order to come into being. Okay, thank you. So once again.
Okay, the ego is violence. It requires a barrier, a boundary from the other in order to be.
Exactly. Yeah, amazing. So would you like to recite it?
Yeah, okay. The ego is violence. It requires a barrier, a boundary from the other in order to be.
Exactly. Okay, so fast. Your time, Alice.
Yeah. The ego is a violence. It requires a barrier, a boundary from the other in order to be.
Oh, yes. Recite it, please.
Okay. The ego is a violence. It requires a barrier, a boundary from the other in order to be.
Exactly. Yeah, your time. Elva, read it, please.
Yes, thank you. The ego is violence. It requires a barrier or boundary from the other in order to be.
Yeah, recite it, please.
Yeah, the ego is violence. It requires a barrier or boundary from the other in order to be.
Okay, bingo. Thank you so much. So tomorrow we will review it, the whole paragraph. Okay, thank you. See you then. Bye.